Hello everybody, my name is James, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about the Imola Grand Prix. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content. Also make sure to follow me on X at James's Pit Lane, I'll leave a link in the description. But let's jump straight into the video. So that race was completely dominated by Max Verstappen, and that was a surprise. You saw on Friday how Red Bull were seriously struggling with the car. But then on Saturday, Red Bull turn it around, Verstappen's able to qualify P2, and then in the Grand Prix, he really won it at the start. He pulled off an amazing move on Oscar Piastri at turn 1. Verstappen didn't get the best launch off the line. The lights went out pretty quickly, and I don't think he got the best reaction time. But Oscar seemed to brake a bit early going into turn 1, and Verstappen was really late on the brakes and just went right round the outside of him. I think took Piastri a bit by surprise, and Verstappen took the lead, and then from there he just pulled away and was unstoppable. Piastri was able to stay within 2 seconds of Verstappen for quite a bit, but he was put on the wrong strategy. He was boxed for hard way too early on in the Grand Prix, and while he came out in free air, he then had to pass a load of cars, and he lost so much time doing that. I mean, credit to him, he got the overtakes done pretty quickly, and they were really impressive considering that it is difficult to overtake around Imola, but he lost so much time doing that. And that strategy also really put him behind his teammate Lando Norris, and while there were multiple safety cars called during the Grand Prix, and that had the ability to change things up, you know, as I say, on the whole, Verstappen had the pace. And in terms of McLaren, the race really worked out in Norris's favour over Piastri. So Lando Norris finished P2 and Piastri was P3. Now, another team that will be happy is Ferrari. They had a brilliant Grand Prix and they needed that following an absolute disaster in qualifying for their home race. You know, Charles Leclerc was only 11th and Lewis Hamilton was 12th. But in the Grand Prix, they showed much better pace, and Lewis Hamilton was able to finish P4 and Charles Leclerc P6. So a brilliant recovery drive from both drivers, some really good points for the team, and I think Hamilton will be especially happy. You know, he's not quite had the pace of his teammate this season, and he's been open about his struggles so far this season, but in the Grand Prix today, you know, he had good pace, he pulled off some good overtakes, and at the end of the Grand Prix, he was closing in on Oscar Piastri for third place. He only finished 1.4 seconds behind him, so really impressive stuff from Hamilton today. And speaking about it, Hamilton said, as quoted by Sky F1, "I did not know where we'd be able to come given we were so far back, but the car felt really great. The team did a fantastic job with this strategy and they were faultless. I think we're slowly getting there, and I think me and Riccardo Ademi did a fantastic job with his communication with me. I was calm, so then I think he was calm, and the team were calm and executing the strategy, and the pit stops were awesome." Now, in terms of Leclerc, he should also be happy with the recovery drive he put in today, but he was also unlucky as well. For example, he pitted earlier on in the Grand Prix, and then he had fantastic pace on new hard tyres. He was absolutely flying along. Then the VSC was called out a few laps later, and drivers ahead of him were able to pit onto much fresher tyres, and all that good work from Leclerc was undone. And when the second safety car came out, Charles didn't pit while others around him did, including his teammate. And while Leclerc found himself in P4, he was on much older tyres than those around him, and as a result, he was at a complete disadvantage at the restart. And Alex Albon was all over him at the restart of the Grand Prix. He was putting him under constant pressure in that Williams, but Leclerc was doing a really good job in holding him off. But then on lap 60, as Albon was trying to go around the outside, he was running out of room and had to take emergency action off the track, and when he came back on the track, that allowed Hamilton to get past him, and then Hamilton went on to pass Leclerc, but Leclerc still tried to keep Albon behind. But then it was announced that Leclerc was under investigation for potentially forcing Albon off the track earlier, and as a result, Ferrari told Leclerc to let Albon pass, and on the final lap, Leclerc conceded 5th place, and he wasn't happy about it. And speaking about it after the race, Leclerc said, "I was saying before, it's one of those races where you've got to race with the heart and put the elbows out a little bit. When it's like this, you very much go on the limit, sometimes a little bit over. But when you're starting P11, as a driver, I cannot accept the situation we are in. With Alex, it was very much on the limit for sure." Now you can see why Leclerc is angry. You know, you look at that incident with Albon and he doesn't want to let a driver go around the outside of him and he's going to get his elbows out. But when you look at it from Albon's point of view, he was significantly alongside Leclerc before having to take avoiding action and going off into the gravel. And based on how far alongside Albon was with Leclerc, I could imagine Leclerc getting a penalty if he had not given the position back. And Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur highlighted how a penalty could have cost Leclerc a few positions, not just one. And the stewards said in their verdict, the stewards reviewed positioning marshalling system data, video timing, and in-car video evidence and determined it was alleged that car 16 forced car 23 off the track at the exit of turn 2. However, before we could conclude our investigations, car 16 voluntarily gave the position back to mitigate the alleged breach. In the circumstances, we took no further action. But that's going to be the video from me today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and until the next one, take care. Bye.